Hello, and thanks for watching this session on Forcepoint Next Gen Firewall and Augmented VPN. Just a quick introduction to get started. So I'm Mark Collins from Net Protocol. I'm the technical lead on the Next Gen Managed Firewall service. And we're going to cover the Augmented VPN subject. So we're going to do a similar thing to the last session where we're going to whiteboard this out, we're going to draw it out, we're going to go through some ideas as to how the VPN technology works. So you are probably aware a VPN is a secure tunnel between two locations, usually two offices, and it's done by usually firewalls. So in this case, we've got firewall office A and office B, and we want these two to talk to each other. So the firewalls at each of these offices, we put a VPN on, and then this VPN it runs over the internet, and it's a secure tunnel. It's an encrypted tunnel of information that allows you to pass traffic, which means you can share files, connect to other desktops remotely, that kind of thing. The issue with this kind of setup is if one of these links has a problem, the line goes down. You have no VPN, and if anything was business critical there, then you are having a problem. So what the Next Gen Firewall attempts to do, quite successfully with its augmented VPN technology, is we can use multi-links. So we've already had a session on this, but just very quickly, multi-link technology means that a Next Gen Firewall can have more than one internet connection, and it can use it to its fullest. So now, like I said, we do have another session on that describes how that can affect your internet as a whole. But specifically here, we're going to talk VPNs. So let's say we've got site A and site B again. This time, we have multiple links on each site. So what the Next Gens can do intelligently is they can build tunnels. They know about the extra connections, the extra multi-links, and they can build as many tunnels as you have links. So what we're seeing now is something very different. Instead of just having one tunnel, it can build a network of tunnels across all of those links and use them all to their fullest. It doesn't just use one until one fails and move over to the other one. It uses both at the same time. Well, I say both, you can have 3, 4, however many links you have at that site. So now what this means is, say for example, we lose this link. It's not a big deal. It's fine, because these, let's see, this link's still up. This link's still up. So if you actually look at that combination of links, there's quite a lot of failover that you can have. So that's good. Let's take it to the next step, where we have 3 offices, and each of these offices has 2 internet connections. So now the failover and the tunnel network would look something like this. Let's try and get this right. It's going to look like a bit of a spider's web, but hopefully it will give you a good indication of the failover possible. I'm going to potentially miss a line here doing this, but you get the idea. That should be it. So that's just from 3 firewalls, each having 2 connections. Every line that you can see there is a VPN tunnel that can be used. And like I say, it will intelligently use whichever one it can. And if one fails, then that's fine. It will just use the rest. So the resilience there is very, very high. But what this also means is it can make you look at existing connections and say you have 2 offices that are connected via a fixed line or a leased line, which is generally very expensive, but they are there because the SLAs are very high, and the bandwidth is usually very high, very reliable. And you have offices where that's a necessity because maybe you have voice traffic traveling over it or whatever. But using this technology, there's the option of getting rid of one large expensive link having smaller, less expensive links and using this technology, which means you have more resilience, because if one line goes down, things will still function, whereas one least line, if you have a problem there, you are down. But also it's scalable, so however many links you want to put on that firewall, the VPN tunnel can use all of them. So that's the first aspect of the augmented VPN. So if we skip on to the next one, which is the client, the VPN endpoint. So say we have our VPN here, our firewall at head office, and we have our endpoint user, job logs, at home on his laptop. First of all, the VPN client is very easy to use from an end user point of view. They have a piece of software that they install, which is either Mac or Windows, and all they need is a host name to connect to, so a URL, vpn.mycompany.com or whatever, and a username and password. So they type this into their endpoint, into their PC once they've installed the client. The PC then goes away and talks to the firewall and says, I've got job logs here and he wants to connect. Now, in other scenarios, the VPN client might need a profile installing, a different bit of software or a file or manual settings. In this case, it takes username and password to the firewall, and the firewall says, oh, okay, your job logs, that's fine. Here are the settings for you to use. So then the end user has no setup, has no configuration that they need to do. So that's fine, and then it all bursts into life and away you go. But what it also sends back is, it sends back information about this endpoint on one of the other multi-links that's on the firewall. So if this line is unavailable for whatever reason, the endpoint says, okay, well, I know I have an alternative. I will try this endpoint instead. And then it will all just carry on working. The bonus of that is, obviously, if you have a lot of remote users, you have a lot of people up and down the country, if there is a problem, you may have had to send them a different file or log on and help them change a setting of the VPN to point to a different IP address, and then change it all back once it's actually working again, the link that was broken. In this instance, there's no configuration change needed. There's no interference needed. The end user probably won't even know there's a problem, and then it gets resolved as soon as you can. So again, massive benefits there. And the last bit to cover, really, with the augmented VPN is how granular you can control the traffic over that VPN. Let's just refer back to our site A and site B example with our 2 links on each firewall. There we go. Let's say this link here and this link here are our more reliable links. They are bigger, faster, better, or whatever. And the other links may be more of a backup link. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that our business critical traffic goes over the best links. So let's say we use remote desktop a lot and Citrix servers or terminal servers or whatever. Now, those kind of desktop services need a fast, reliable bandwidth. If there's any sort of gaps, if there's any drop packets or whatever, it will affect the user experience. So we can say, okay, let's make sure that any traffic that's remote desktop that goes over this VPN uses specifically this tunnel and nothing else, because we want it to be as solid as possible. And that's fine, we can do that. We have that level of management over the traffic, which means that you're not just throwing traffic over a line and hoping for the best. You can see where it's going and it can be managed. And that's it really for the augmented VPN features. Obviously, this is a bit of an overview, just to give you an idea as to how these technologies work. But the amount of benefits to businesses is massive. So a quick overview on the session. So we've got augmented VPN allows for failover. Multiple links, one goes down, the VPN still works. Can achieve more throughput over VPN with more smaller links. Again, giving the option of, do I need one big fast link, or can we have smaller links and do the same thing and have more redundancy? High availability for endpoints for VPN clients, so people that working remotely, give them the ability to use other links if one goes down seamlessly without them knowing. And then managing the traffic that runs over your VPN, so that you have full control. And there we go. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. So again, I'm Mark Collins from Net Protocol. My contact details are there on the screen. If you are interested in this technology, if you would like to run something like this in your business, we run this as a managed service, so we can the installation, the day-to-day, the support, the updates, it's all wrapped up in our Firewall as a service. So if you want to contact us there, we can talk to you about it in more detail. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.